Hey guys, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
I am Commander Cockins, and today we are asking the galaxy, universe, time-spanning question. What happens with the Spore tech next? Anything? Is it gone? Is it back? Is it here? Are they going to jump? I mean, we've now been in the Spore network. We've seen the people that live there.
That's a very good question. I mean, they've been talking about closing the door permanently on it since the beginning of season 2 because they were dismantling parts of it in the giant, huge hull of a ship with work bees and the turbo lift flying through it. They were doing that kind of stuff early on, and then yet it's still operational, so they aren't working very fast. And then Stamets is like, oh no, I'm going to actually shut it down soon. Here we go. Oh no, we need it. It's going to be one of those recurring plot devices, I'm afraid, especially with the red signals or whatever being like 30,000 light years apart. They're going to need the Spore drive, I think. As sad as that is. So it's almost like they don't know how to end it. I mean, even in this last episode with the cocoon that brought Hugh back, it's like once we use that cocoon, this is what May said, once we use the cocoon, we don't have any access to your realm anymore. It'll be sealed for good, she said.
Unless we just Spore back in and say, hey.
Exactly. We can just crash the ship into the watery Spore
with
network.
no big repercussions.
Exactly. And now that everybody's on the same page, you know, the aliens know that Hugh wasn't a monster. He was just defending himself and blah, 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 blah. Now we're going to work together, do first contact. We want to jump in there and just hang out with them and get high on mushrooms and, you know. I mean, spores. I mean...
But they are mushrooms. They are mushrooms. Yeah. It's weird because, I mean, as I've said before in a few videos, if you remove the Spore technology from the Discovery, what makes her an interesting ship?
The fact that we now know the crew, kind of?
But you know what I mean, it breaks down strongly to that is the cell of the show. That was the point of the show. You remove that, it's just an oversized hull that doesn't look very good and is, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So really, it's kind of like they can lip service it for another year probably. You know, oh yeah, we're dismantling, but you know we're gonna keep 3 or 4 Spore containers just in case. Because yeah, you know, if an emergency crops up, you know, if they, you know, if somehow Red Angel fleet is attacking Vulcan and we are, you know, 86 hours away, then isn't it, you know,
still the only ship in the quadrant though? Not the quadrant the attack's happening in, but still,
next to Vulcan, yeah, no ships are ranging Vulcan to go save Vulcan. So at that point, it's, you know, their duty to risk the Spore mycelium people creature to save, you know, a founder of the Federation. I mean, they can make that leap physically and whateverly, even if it hurts, you know, ends just by means it needs the many outweigh the needs the few, all that stuff. But when they remove it from the equation, it becomes an average ship again with a relatively uninteresting crew, relatively speaking. I mean, the same thing if you took you know, Voyager out of the Delta Quadrant, that same crew. You know, the fact that it was Delta Quadranting was its big, like, interesting factor. Then you got to know the crew because of the journey. But we haven't had that journey. We've had sort of plot. A little bit different in Discovery.
It's a very interesting point. I never really considered that. I mean, I just thought, you know, it's just another crew we're just going to follow, just like, you know, we did with, you know, I was going to say Voyager, but then you screwed that up for me. Yeah, because it kind of takes the punch away from Stamets as well. I mean, I love Stamets' character, but yeah, he accepted a teaching job on Vulcan. That's the thing. But now that Hugh's back, if Hugh decides to stay as a doctor on Discovery, will Stamets stay? Will Stamets stay will he get the chief engineer position?
Well, he's not an engineer.
Reno? I know.
He's a botanist.
I'm just saying. It's hard to say because you're right. It takes the punch away from Discovery. It takes the punch away from some of the crew members. It's just like, okay, yeah, we know you guys now, so now we're just gonna follow you around. I mean, I never really considered that.
That's the thing when you build your show. It's like if Voyager got back in season 2, and then they had 5 more seasons of them just doing TNG. It's like because it's TNG again. You know what I mean? There is that central premise. It's like if they destroyed DS9 after 3 episodes. Again, it's the same thing. TNG was very different. It was episodic exploration television with very distinct characters that all had distinct, plot traits that you could roll episodes around. Each of them. They were designed for that. And TOS was again the same thing, but with the primary 3, but very distinct as well. And it was, moral stories over all things. Discovery is really, it was based around a concept in season 1, where the tech was massively important. That was why it was special. Season 2, they've taken that away, but now it's about another concept. They've still spored multiple times to do plot. And the Spore network is still hugely important, again, in the plot. But yeah, if now, every time we spore, we damage the Spore network, we kill these creatures, that should be end of story, shouldn't it? Theoretically.
It should be. Like, has the rewrites and the constant changing of production staff really put Discovery in a corner? Is it something that can't continue because of that? I don't know what to say on that front, but I mean, I'll still watch it no matter what the ship's doing, personally, and I think a lot of people will.
Well, we didn't want the Spore drive anyway, so it's not, it's good.
Yeah, well, we started out the show knowing it had to go away at some point. There had to be a real reason for that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. It's a weird question. I don't know if it's going to go away right away. I think they're going to have to find a need that they need to keep it, or they can't remove the tech, or now that they've gone into the realm, they need to, I don't know, find some way of repairing it, repairing the mycelial network, or...
what I think might be fun? Well, Section 31 is a big plot point, although they're not secret or covert anymore, it appears. We don't know that you need the rotating drive section to Spore jump. We don't know you need that. That was needed for the initial versions, and they had it functional for over a year, and study time and all that stuff. And we know that they were building more space frames with Spore tech, and it would be weird that the entire fleet would have to spin. You're burning through most of your internal, source of volume, or a lot of it anyway. So you can imagine they would be smarter with that. So the Section 31 ship, why would they ever give up Spore jumping? Why would they care that 18 Spore creatures died, 1,000 Spore creatures died that you didn't even know existed until one day ago? Why would they ever give that tech up? And so what if we come to the point in like the end of the season where they become the villains of the season, and now they can detect the Spore signature and it's not them, and they're like, oh shit, we need to Spore jump to deal with the Section 31 threat. We have to just do that to do the thing. You know
what? That could be, and them trying to steal the Spore tech could be why Starfleet eventually disavows Section 31 and disbands it. And then they don't want to be disbanded, of course, so they go super secret, as we see in Deep Space Nine, because they're going against the Federation ideals of, they're harming these creatures. So, wow, that was a great suggestion.
Problem is that does happen all the time, though. I'm sure going against Federation values. So it'd be weird if that was the straw that broke the camel's back.
I'm sure. I know Starfleet wouldn't condone killing anything for just transport.
Well, but it is. That's the problem, though. It is universe, dimension, time, travel. It's not just transit. It's not just warp. And like I say, why would Section 31 ever give it up? So like I say, what if there's this fun boss battle at the end where they're both jumping to the Gamma Quadrant where the last Spore signal, that's where the last Red Angel signal is, and they got to do this epic space battle, and I don't know. And then Giorgio takes command against Leopold, what's his name? Leland. Thank you. Leland. And then she takes command. Like, I'll take, this was my ship now, and then she spores away, and it's like, that's the start of the new Section 31 show. I don't know, because definitely Stamets should not be on the ship if the Spore drive is irrelevant. Like he will, he should leave the show.
He'll stick around for Hugh, though. I can see him sticking around for Hugh.
Yeah, but he also needs mental care and all these things. It'd be nice to obviously, leave the showing, just leave the show in a nice way, but let them go to Vulcan and be just themselves. We don't follow them anymore. Like, that's their story done.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure Hugh was only there because Stamets was there. I'm sure he took the post specifically because, you know.
Yeah, and you got to wonder too why, if Giorgio is going, if it's in her brain to go back to the mirror universe at some point, so she needs to maintain the fact she doesn't want the Spore drive to be dismantled.
It's true. Very true.
She needs to come up with a reason for it to stay active, or steal it so that she can get back to where she belongs. Or does she even want to get back there? It would be pretty impactful for the Emperor to come back. So.
Although, can I bring up one little curveball they threw at us?
Yes.
The Discovery was put into a nebula and told to wait, and waited for 2,000 years. Yeah, 1,000 years. That happens.
Well, that's the next thing I was gonna mention.
Yeah.
Is that maybe they do use the Spore drive to jump to the Red Angels, fix that solution, and one of the last things that happens is that the Spore drive gets activated by a Red Angel or something, and the ship starts to, and Stamets is like, we got to get out of here, and so they all abandon ship, and the ship ends up going through time instead of, and gets just stuck in time. I don't know. I'm just spitballing here, but there's something that has to happen if the short treks are to be considered canon.
Well, it's funny because they're written to try and sell them. Okay, one was really important, Bright Star. That's going to be huge for the next one.
Yes.
But this other one, this future one, I mean, that's like the biggest repercussions ever. Because it also showed a post-Federation world.
Maybe the guy from Calypso will somehow come back. I don't know if he's going to be a regular actor on the show, but I would love to see him. He was really good. And because he's so familiar with the ship.
It was said at one point.
Yeah. And yeah, if he's so familiar with the ship because of all the time he spent there, that he becomes a chief engineer.
1,000-year-old from the future. Yeah. Or what if the plot happens in the season? Great, but they insist that Spore, Pike's like, on my on my authority, we're going to keep the Spore drive, half dismantled, but we've got 12 canisters. That'll be enough, right? So that we're not replenishing, undoing our labs, our garden, but we still got those 12 Spore canisters. Great.
And a planet full of the spores, but okay. Or a moon, sorry.
Yes, that was a stupid... They shouldn't have done that.
That's a just in case we need it plot device. That's
yeah,
that is.
But it was such a nice way of ending the plot, but like saying we run out of mycelium, that was such a nice way of doing it. Anyway, but what if, the end is Giorgio, she tries to take over, or they know she's going to, like Tyler tips them off, and so they say, while they might be able to build a new one, something magical happened here that made it work. Without Stamets, without this technology, without really reverse engineering, you can't make a new one. So they abandon it and say to the computer, we can't blow you up because we've now made a short with you. Oops. But stay here, and then we're going to warp away in shuttles. Stay here, then we just left you because the ship can never be fall into Station 31's hands, and that's how it ends. And then, because the Discovery could just be the name of the show, it doesn't actually have to be the name of the ship. It'd be nice if they made a new ship, and they could go discovering things, and they rebalance the characters a bit and shrink stuff, or maybe someone go on to Pike's Enterprise for a season of that, or
Or maybe Giorgio creates an emergency, has to evacuate the Discovery. She then steals the Discovery to do a Spore jump into her own dimension, the mirror universe, but ends up going forward 1,000 years in time, and is the only one left on the ship, and eventually just dies or leaves with a shuttle.
Why? But we know that it waited 1,000 years. It didn't time jump 1,000 years. It waited 1,000 years.
It's waited 1,000 years. We don't know where it's waiting from. Is it waiting from present day, or did it jump in time, then wait 1,000 years and say that, and maybe not know that it? I don't know. I mean, there's so many possibilities with the way they wrote it.
Yeah.
Anyway,
but my guess, end of season 2, Spore Drive is no longer a thing. They're going to retire it. It needs to be a thing. They know it needs to be a thing. They wrote themselves into this massive hole at the start, and they are. But the fact is, though, a show that is so controversial, where make or break season, and you as the new showrunner know that people for 5 weeks aren't even going to see your contribution to it, And the reveal might, if the reveal wasn't so telegraphed in season 1, it would have been a nice reveal. It was just heavily telegraphed. Like Tyler Vaught could have been a great reveal if it wasn't blatant, really poorly writtenly blatant. So this season 2, it's far more intriguing. But there's no reason to get season 3 yet because we don't know how the fans are reacting to it. So it's like they put in the Sorrow episode, all the eggs in one basket. Why save anything back? Like Enterprise season 4, go full speed on season 2, try and put everything we can, and then there is a season 3. Oh shit, that's okay. So they might just do everything they can in season 2, assuming no season 3, and then soft reboot season 3 again. But that's fine. They're fine in their direction. It just involved more reboots.
Well, the original concept was to have an anthology every season. Season have a new, and they're kind of doing that with each reboot, right?
And the original thing was to have a alien creature be the tardigrade, not the tardigrade. So they've changed a lot of things in the initial concept.
Yeah,
a lot of things.
But anyway, guys, we've kind of talked this to death. We would love to hear your thoughts. What do you think is going to happen with the Spore drive? Should it just be dismantled right away? Always look forward to seeing your comments down below. And speaking of down below, there's a description with a whole bunch of links. You can go get some cool Trekyards merchandise from the Teespring store. You can visit us on social media, join the Trekyards community, have great discussions on a regular basis. Lots of different ways to do that. And of course, the best way is to make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you're notified. Click the notification icon. And don't forget to like the video. And share it around to people that you think might enjoy it.
And of course, support us directly if you can. If you can't, do things that Stuart said, but if you can, it does make a massive difference. But there are some great ways. And let's go back and forth through it. So Patreon, the monthly service, you can put a little bit in or a lot in, your choice, each and every month. I mean, a little could be $5, a lot could be $10. Seriously, that's all it takes. And that comes to us each and every month. It's a backbone of support. We know that we can do these videos every day and be confident. What other ways, Stuart?
Don't forget trekyards.com. You can go there and there's a donate button. That's basically our PayPal. PayPal stuff is in the description below as well. You can just send us a PayPal donation through that button or by just using our email address at trekyards@hotmail.com through PayPal, and that's direct money. But there's another way as well.
And of course, you can join our weekly lives, brilliant conversations with a brilliant community each and every week. Join in, say hi, and super chat if you can to ask a question, say a comment, or just say hi, guys. All makes a massive difference. Please and thank you, and we'll see you then.
And of course, best way is just coming back and visiting us again. So until then, I'm Captain Foley.
I'm Connor Kungs. See you later.
Bye, guys.